Peter's suit is downgraded, Scorpion is free, and a mystery girl is already in his orbit. This is not a reboot, it is a hidden prequel. What happened next exposed Marvel's entire strategy. Spider-Man's new suit just leaked, but it is what they are hiding around it that changes everything. Yes, the footage is real. It came from a private Disney event where Marvel showed a locked preview of upcoming projects, and right in the middle of it was the first look at Spider-Man. Brand new day. It was not a full trailer, it was quick, rough, but it gave away more than Marvel probably meant to. The suit is different. It feels older, like a mix between Tobey Maguire's webbed armor and Andrew Garfield's sharper eyes. It is a clear step away from the Stark Tech look. But that was not even the most surprising part. Standing next to Peter in one scene is Sadie Sink, and her role might be a game changer. People are already saying she could be playing Mayday Parker, his daughter from another universe. That would mean Brand New Day is not just a reset, it is a continuation of everything that came before, and maybe everything that still has not happened yet. Add to that Scorpion's return, a new villain from the Spider-Man PS4 game, and whispers of a soft reboot. And one tiny timeline detail flips everything we thought we knew about Peter Parker's next chapter. The footage did not come from a trailer or a Comic-Con panel. It came from a private Disney consumer products event, where Marvel showed a locked preview reel to brand partners and license holders. These types of reels are not made for fans. They are made for toy companies, merch distributors, and investors, people who need to see what is coming next so they can plan products around it. That is why the footage was never meant to hit the internet, but someone in that room recorded it, and now it is out. The reel was packed. It included new shots from The Mandalorian, early concept clips from Avengers, Doomsday, and then, suddenly, a scene from Spider-Man, Brand New Day. The clip was short, but it was enough. A full-body look at the new suit, Peter standing on a rooftop, and someone else in the frame who should not be there. The crowd in the room was told not to share anything, but of course, someone did. And now Marvel is watching fan reactions very closely. This was not some accident. Marvel knows what they are doing. This was a quiet test to see how the new version of Spider-Man would land. And right in the middle of that reel was a new Spider-Man suit no one expected. The new suit is not just a redesign, it is a statement. It looks like Marvel wanted to send a message that this is not the same Peter Parker we last saw in No Way Home. The first thing you notice is the webbing. It is raised just like Tobey Maguire's suit. It gives the suit that old-school texture, something you can almost feel through the screen. Then you look at the eyes. They are sharper, longer, and more angled, almost identical to Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man mask. It is like they blended the most iconic parts from both previous versions and handed them to Tom Holland. The color is also different. The red is brighter. The blue pops harder. It feels more classic, more grounded, less tech-heavy. There are no glowing pieces, no iron limbs, no signs of Stark Tech. And that might be the biggest shift of all. This version of Peter looks like he went back to building his own gear. No AI, no drones, just thread, willpower, and street-level grit. After everything that happened with Tony and the Avengers, it seems like Peter is finally stepping into his own story, on his own terms. But the real clue hiding in the footage was the girl standing next to him. Sadie Sink appears for just a few seconds in the leaked footage, but that was all it took to start a storm of theories. The rumor going around is that she is playing Mayday Parker, who, in the comics, is Peter Parker's daughter from an alternate future. Now here is where it gets interesting. In that world, she takes up the mantle of Spider-Girl after Peter is injured. But in this footage, she does not look like a daughter. She looks more like a peer, someone close in age to Peter. Not a teenager, but not a kid either. Not a teenager, but not a kid either. That opens up two big questions. First, is she still his daughter? And second, whose Peter is she connected to? If the theory is right and she comes from Tobey Maguire's universe, this could mean we are still feeling the effects of No Way Home. Marvel has already played loose with timeline logic before. They are not shy about skipping explanations, and this would not be the first time someone crossed over and stayed. She could be part of a multiverse cleanup, or maybe something worse is coming, and she is here because she already knows what it is. And if she is already here, who else made it through? One of the biggest surprises in the early footage was a blink-and-you-miss-it flash of a villain surrounded by a burst of black and white energy. Fans who played Spider-Man PS4 recognized it instantly. That was Mr. Negative. And if it really is him, Marvel just pulled one of the best villains from the game and dropped him right into the live-action universe. Mr. Negative, also known as Martin Lee, is not your typical villain. His powers are energy-based. He can charge objects with dark force energy and flip from kind-hearted humanitarian to violent, unpredictable killer in seconds. Visually, his powers look like static bursts, white hair, glowing eyes, and negative color attacks. And that fits perfectly with the tone of the leaked footage. It is sharp, moody, and feels like something darker is coming. Steven Yeun was once rumored to play him, but he dropped out of Thunderbolts. Now the name being whispered is Daniel Wu, who has the range and presence to pull this off. He can play calm and terrifying in the same breath. And if this casting sticks, we are in for something powerful. But he may not be the only one coming back for revenge. Scorpion has been missing from the screen for years. The last time we saw him was all the way back in the Homecoming post-credit scene, locked up and already angry at Spider-Man. Since then, he has been completely silent. No appearance in No Way Home. No cameo. Nothing. But that might finally be changing. The leaked footage shows a figure in green armor with a thick mechanical tail just barely visible in the shadows. And based on the shape, the movement, and the timing, it points straight to Mac Gargan, also known as Scorpion. If this is really him, Marvel may be paying off a setup that fans have been waiting on for nearly a decade. And the timing makes sense. With Kingpin growing stronger in the background and whispers of Dr. Octopus returning, it would not take much for someone like Scorpion to get upgraded, enhanced, and drop back into the fight. This version of Spider-Man is clearly being pulled back into street-level threats. Less world-ending battles, more bruises, alleys, and vendettas. And Scorpion fits that world perfectly. Brutal, personal, angry. And he might not be alone. In one scene from the leaked footage, there is a quick shot of what looks like an underground lab. Dim lights, concrete walls, and someone in the shadows working with tools. That might not mean much on its own, but fans who know the comics notice something right away. The figure in that lab looks huge. Broad shoulders, thick arms, and a scar across the jawline. That could be Tombstone, one of the grittiest street-level villains in Spider-Man's world. Tombstone has deep ties to the underworld. If Kingpin is rising again after Echo, then it makes sense that someone like Tombstone would be working right beside him. And then there is the strange rumor that Boomerang might be in this too. Now, Boomerang is not a major villain, but he has history. He has been in the Sinister Six in certain comic runs, and more recently, he was part of a comedic duo with Spider-Man in the comics. If Marvel includes him, it could be for comic relief, but it could also mean they are testing the waters for a different kind of villain team. These are not aliens or gods. These are street-level enemies, showing up one by one. That feels like a setup, not for a multiverse war, but for a new Sinister Six, grounded in the world Peter is trying to rebuild. But all of this is leading to one big shift that nobody's talking about. The timeline is where things get messy. Spider-Man, Brand New Day will release after Avengers. Doomsday, but story-wise, it actually takes place before it. That is why in the leaked footage, Peter looks more stripped down. No team, no nanotech. No Stark upgrades, just a new suit that feels more personal. And that makes sense if this movie is showing us what happened after No Way Home, but before the next big crossover. Marvel has done this kind of thing before. They play with time, not just across universes, but between release dates. So even though fans will see Doomsday first, Peter's role in that movie might be small, or even confusing, until Brand New Day fills in the gaps. It would also explain why he might not have a full team-up moment in Doomsday. He could still be rebuilding his life, still trying to stay under the radar. Some rumors say that Doomsday only shows Peter for a few key scenes, while Brand New Day focuses on him handling street-level threats on his own. Marvel is stacking these events in a strange order, but it is starting to form a larger picture. And that brings us to the question fans keep asking. The footage says a lot without saying much. Peter is still on his own, still recovering from the world forgetting who he is. No team, no help. Just a new suit, some old villains, and a city that is not sure it needs him anymore. This version of Spider-Man feels more grounded, more personal, and Marvel seems to be blending everything at once. Bits of the multiverse, street-level danger, and emotional fallout from No Way Home. But instead of explaining it all with a big speech or some flashy reset, they are just showing us what comes next. And maybe that is the point. Brand New Day is not just a title, it is a clean page, a quiet way to fix what was broken without needing to undo everything that came before it. Marvel has found a way to move forward without starting over, and in the process they are setting the stage for something bigger. So here is the question. If Mayday Parker is already here, and Scorpion is gearing up for war, how many more came through that portal in No Way Home? And how many are still hiding?